Am leaving my husband, moving to a small town to escape emotional turmoil, while he prioritizes supporting his sister over our marriage. My husband male 50 of 11 years and his sister F41 are very close. We meet her and her husband Bill M40 all the time. Sunday dinner is always with them at our or their place. Occasionally other family members join us from my or my husband's side of the family, but the constant is us four, and Sill's 3 children. I get along very well with Sill and Bill. We never had issues. I started having feelings for Bill about 5 years ago. I know people here would call it emotional affair, but it wasn't, yet. I kept it very secret and nobody noticed. I love my husband very much and I don't want to ruin our beautiful marriage. We are awesome together and our bond is strong. My feelings for Bill were very confusing at first and I went years without realizing what they were because I love my husband, so how can I love another? When Bill turned 40, they had a big party and I stayed after to clean because Sill had to take care of the children, so it was me and Bill cleaning. He was still a bit tipsy and he told Method he's been in love with me since I married my husband. I was shocked. He has always been nice to me and complimented me, but I never felt anything more. I tried to ignore him, so he said it again. I told him to go to bed. He tried to argue, but I insisted that he went to bed and let me clean by myself. He probably knows that I love him too because of something he said. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we stopped pretending and just told them? We only live once. How did he know? I cried for weeks afterwards, and when my husband saw that I was sad, he was very concerned and was so nice to me, and it made me cry even more. The guilt is physically painful. I have developed ulcers. This happened last summer, and ever since I've tried to avoid seeing Sill and Bill. With how frequent we met before, there was never one good excuse. Soon my husband was irritated with me, accusing me of not liking his family. Sill called a few times to wonder. Now she has started saying that I wanted to come between her and her brother because I never liked their closeness. I go to the dinners and ignore Bill altogether, and Sill is mad that it feels like I hate her when I actually love her like a sister. My husband got a new job offer, a city that's 20 hours away. I want him to take it. But it's in a very small town and he is surprised that I, a renowned city girl, want to move to a small town. I don't know what to do. I want my husband to take this job, but I don't know how to convince him. Bill texted me begging not to do it, and he promised not to bother me again, but just not to move away. TT doesn't sit well with me. As long as it was one-sided it felt less serious, but now it feels like an emotional affair and I don't want to be in it. What can I do? Hi. I was here a week ago. Read that post because I will not repeat my story. I honestly didn't expect to be so judged and hated. I read my post over and over again, trying to understand where there could have been any misunderstanding about me being interested in acting on my feelings. There was none, so I guess people just wanted to judge, which is sad because I have seen how people can be supportive in here. Anyhow, I stumbled upon a few kind souls that didn't treat me like I was disgusting human garbage, so I'm here again with an update because my life just got more complicated and I'm so desperate. Those who read my first post know that I haven't talked to anybody about this. I want to stress the point that I have never once contemplated acting on my feelings toward Bill, not even when he confessed that he had feelings for me. On the contrary, when he told me that he was in love with me, I was more adamant to do everything in my power to forget him. I have never spoken or looked his way since that confession, and I'm not planning to ever speak to him again either. After my post I had a talk again to my husband about the job in the little town. I told him that I wanted the new adventure, especially when it came with a 25% increase in his salary and a higher up position. My husband has been complaining about how he isn't advancing in his career in our city. I told him that this could be the step he needed. I'm a nurse, and I could easily find jobs anywhere we went because we have a shortage in healthcare staff everywhere. The idea started to grow on him. He was skeptical because of the distance to our families, but he was intrigued. He booked a job interview that is supposed to happen on Wednesday. If he took the job, we would be relocating around New Year. I was so hopeful that I could finally breathe. Today is Sunday and it was, per usual, the day we meet up with family for dinner. This date happened this week, however, and I'm spending this Sunday alone. My husband is staying with Sill because earlier this week Bill broke the news to her that he wanted a divorce. Sill is beside herself with shock and my husband is there to try and mediate between her and her husband. Bill is refusing to talk to any of them and has only been there twice to see the kids. My husband told me now that he couldn't take this job because he needed to stay here and support his sister. I understand where he is coming from, but for me all the horror and anxiety is back. What can I do? I feel trapped, like the walls are closing in around me. I can't tell my husband my true reasons. I have tried so many times, but I just can't do it. I love him so much and I know him very well. He will be hurt and devastated. We have had issues throughout our marriage with him not being able to perform due to health problems, and we haven't had sex in over 8 years. He is so self-conscious about. I just can't hurt him about something like this. I think my options now are to stay put and support my husband and Sill. If they, Bill and Sill, can save their marriage in any way, then maybe my husband could find a new job opportunity in another city in the future and agree to move. If they divorce, then I won't be seeing Bill anymore. I don't know how I feel about this. It is probably too early for me to do this horrible thing when my Sill just got separated, but I don't see any improvement in the horizon. Please read my other posts for context, but if you don't want to, Sill and Bill has separated about a month ago and my husband has been busy being Sill's support. When my husband told me he was not taking the job up north because of Sill's marital problems, I understood that, and was supportive. We have always been close to my Sil, and my husband loves his sister and her children. I always admired their bond because I was never this close to my family. He stopped spending weekends with me and instead staying with Sil and the children, and even several days a week when he doesn't even text me after work that he was spending the evening with the children. I didn't mind it because this is all new and Sil isn't coping well after the separation. I told my husband that I missed him though, and that I wanted to be with him and maybe I should tag along some days. He said that I was being selfish for wanting the attention now. His sister needed the support, I should be more understanding. She and Bill have been together since they were very young and she wasn't adjusting well with these new changes. I felt horrible and so selfish. I thought that I should be supportive. Every Christmas, on Boxing Day, my husband and I travel to somewhere warm and spend 2 to 3 weeks. It has been our tradition since we met. We booked this trip months early, April. Yesterday when I was talking about our trip, my husband was so surprised. He said that he was actually astonished that I thought that we would just go on with our plans when Sil's life is turned upside down. I told him that this was our thing and that his sister has her own family. I wanted my family, him. I told him that I fully understood that she needs his support but that I've been very lonely lately. He told me to drop the subject. Today I chatted with the traveling agency to see if I could add my Sil and her children. I thought that maybe it would be a good change of climate. Well, they would have to take a separate flight, but other than that it was possible even with such short notice to add them, so I called my husband to tell him the news. He was very excited. When he came home later, he told me that his sister didn't agree however, so we are staying. I asked him why and he said that she didn't want to be around happy couples right now. It was all I could do to hold back my tears. When my husband got that job offer in the small town up north, I started browsing job opportunities and I sent my CV around. One hospital answered me a week ago. I think I want to take the job. After what happened today I just logged in and made an appointment for a job interview. I know that my Sil is hurting and that my husband is admirable for being there for her. This is all just so new for everyone and a big life change for Sil and her children, but I feel like I'm no two in my own life. I feel neglected and like I have the supporting role in my own movie. I'm leaving my husband. I'm taking the new job and I will go with the plans and move to that small town and get away from everything and everyone. I think I need this new start. Judge me all you want. I know you will. Update 1. I have been crying since yesterday reading your beautiful DMs. I felt like some of you hit the nail on many details that I have left out, and I'm astounded and even scared that some of you seem to know my innermost thoughts and fears, but then I remember that nobody who knows me in person knows any of this. I love my husband. I will probably never love anyone like I love him, but yes, I have been very unhappy for a long time. As I said, I always admired my husband for the love he has for his sister. He basically raised her because their parents were having issues and she was left for him to raise when he was a child himself. His warmth and compassion is what made me fall for him, but does it make sense that it is also what's making me miserable? I have always known I'm his second, but I have always thought that this will change with time. First I thought because I'm not family, and after I became his wife I thought because we don't have children. When Sil started having children I felt that I was pushed down the ladder of my husband's priorities. I have told him this before and he just told me I was being ridiculous competing with children. I remember telling him that it wasn't just that. We should be each other's priority because even if his sister loves him, he is not her priority and never will be because she has a family now. We never agreed on this matter. I felt like there was some truth in what he said too. I was competing with children and his sister. Besides, I thought he would be there when I needed him. Except he wasn't. My mental health has been declining this year, but he wasn't as warm and compassionate as I always known him to be, the very things that made me so much in love with him. And these past months since Bill confessed his feelings, my husband never once tried to listen to me. Never once he tried to understand why I didn't want to join them for the usual Sunday dinner, and never once told me he was staying with me instead since I obviously didn't want to go. On the contrary, it became something he was bothered about, even with my body physically reacting to my mental state. I have developed ulcers and lost crazy amounts of weight and hair. I guess him canceling the Christmas trip was just the straw. I love him but I can't anymore. I have spoken to him today before he went to his sister. I told him that he has known for months now that I'm unhappy and that I wanted to leave this city. I told him that I couldn't do it anymore and I apologized that I chose this very inconvenient time when his sister is suffering, but that I couldn't do it anymore. He looked at me and was silent, and the disappointment in his eyes just broke me. He said that he couldn't believe that I have no compassion whatsoever when a family member is suffering, and yet I still want to go about my life as usual. Would the world end if we skipped our tradition once when he is needed somewhere else? I started crying because I couldn't reach out to him, and yes, if simplified, he is in the right. This looks like me sulking about a trip. I told him that I couldn't do this anymore. We are talking past each other and none of us wants to understand the other. He left. He texted me now that he never thought me to be selfish and that if I should do what I see fit. He will not stand in my way. I don't know if he will be coming back. Update 2. I have got a job in the new town. I'm going on an official interview on January 2nd. Afterwards, I start my new job as soon as I have settled in an apartment. The hospital offers rooms for rent for nurses, something I'm considering to look into. They usually offer this opportunity when they need people to start right away, and me accepting this without hesitation made me understand how done I'm with everything with my life here. I'd rather live in a small room, maybe even share it with another nurse rather than staying here. I literally feel like the walls are closing in on me here and I can't breathe. Maybe I can buy my own place eventually, now the prices has gone down. I have told my family about my decision. I have never been close to them and I don't think they understand my decision. I don't blame them. I haven't told them about how I've been feeling lately, but I hope in time they do when they see that I'm happier. My friend who I've been living with the majority of these past weeks is more understanding. My husband didn't talk to me the first weeks after I moved out. I think it's because he's been busy with Sil but also because of anger and hurt. He called me the day before Christmas Eve however. He was feeling lonely because Sil and the children found a last-minute trip to Egypt with Sil's best friend and her children. They're coming home before school starts again. I told him to come for Christmas dinner with my family. It was a bit confusing for my parents that he was there after I said I was separating, but I just couldn't let him be alone. He asked me if I could move back home and wait with the move until he is ready so we both could move. Also, we should go on our annual trip because it was a waste throwing $8,000 away. Now you think it's a waste? I told him that I had given away the trip to my friend who took me in these past few weeks. He admitted that we had problems and that we needed help. I felt like he was genuinely sad and desperate to make it work between us, but to be honest I don't think I want that anymore. I feel like that ship has sailed. At least I need to be alone for a while before deciding if I wanted to be married to him anymore. I told him that I wanted separation and work from there. He was crying the whole time and so was I, but I stood by my decision. He texted me later that he's always loved me. I'm the love of his life and that he will do anything to make me happy again even if it meant letting me go. I feel excited for the new chapter but there's a lot of pain in my heart at the same time. I love my husband and I'm so scared that I'm making a big mistake. Maybe I will never find love again. Can I live without feeling loved, if I love myself well enough? Hi everyone. I'm happy that you still remember me and still ask about me. I have decided to never update on the big sub anymore. It gives me more control to block abusive users that are spreading untruths about me. I can't believe that my story got so big. I hope you have had good holidays and New Year. I will not wish you a Happy New Year because I think, like Larry David, from Curb Your Enthusiasm, that you can't say Happy New Year after the 7th of January. I love my new town. I have noticed that my health is improving rapidly. I'm not losing hair as much and I haven't lost any weight either. My ulcers are still a big nuisance but I'm getting treatment. My husband and I has decided for separation. I have adamantly refused that he moved here with me and he was very angry at first, but he knew that now I could just stop talking to him completely if he is being disrespectful or trying to pressure me in any way, so he is trying not to upset me. I know it in my heart's heart that I don't want to be with him anymore. I miss him, yes, and it breaks my heart that he is hurt, but I feel so much more freedom and happiness that I haven't in years that could cry when I think of how much better off I'm now. I told him the truth but he still insists that trial separation is a good start. I don't know, I dream about sex and how much I have missed it. Only now I realize how much I need it in my life. I still have feelings for Bill and I fantasize about him a lot, so I'm so relieved that he is so far away. Out of sight, out of mind, or that's at least what I'm hoping for. He called me a week after I moved here too, wished me Happy New Year and said he was sorry that my marriage was ending. He apologized if he had any part in it. I denied it. More lies, but I have decided to bury this whole thing down in my heart. My heart is nobody's business but mine, and these feelings are my innermost private feelings that nobody is entitled to. He was so kind and gentle however, and I cried during the whole phone call and even more afterwards. He seemed to be more optimistic, happy about his future too. On that phone call, he talked more than I ever heard him talk in all these years I've known him combined, and there was something else in his voice that I couldn't put my finger on but that gave me happiness. He never brought up his confession or his apology afterwards. Probably he didn't want to make things awkward, and I'm thankful for that. I want to start dating again. It is too soon now, I know, and I need time for myself to enjoy singlehood, but I can see myself dating again, loving and being loved, and what's more, that makes me excited, feel lusted after. A great thing to feel again. If anything else happens I will update you, my virtual support. You don't know how important it was for me to be able to discuss my most private emotions with people I don't know. Thank you for your time. Hi again. I hope everything is well with you. I'm doing fine. I will get my own apartment in June. Right now I live in a nurse housing near the hospital, if that is the right term. I'm having great time. I made a few friends and I'm taking up yoga and violin classes. My husband visited me once, unannounced, and I didn't appreciate it, to be honest. He stayed the whole weekend. This was 2 weeks ago. He had a falling out with his sister because she was angry that he insinuated that she was the reason her husband left her. I totally disagree with my husband. Nobody is the reason why somebody leaves. Life is hard enough as it is without us blaming each other for why it is this hard. People fall out of love and it is no specific person's fault, and if anybody, it was my fault. But anyway, Sil doesn't speak to my husband now. I felt so sorry for him, but I know they love each other and will reconcile. As for us, I realized that waiting for my husband to come to terms with our separation wasn't ideal. I have made more progress than him because he is still in the we can work through this phase. I told him that I wasn't going back to him, and still he thought all I needed is time. I told him that I was filing for divorce and he didn't take me seriously. I signed and sent him the papers. This was last Monday. He has not contacted me yet, but I received notification that he got the papers. He can drag the divorce for a couple of years tops if he refuses to sign. When he was here visiting, I realized that I didn't have any romantic feelings nor attraction to him anymore. Maybe I haven't had in years really, but I still love him more than any human on this earth. Does this make any sense? Do you feel this way? I saved this for last, but I have been talking on Hinge to someone. I am not looking for anything serious. I don't want to be in a relationship for a very long time. This man is also in a somewhat similar situation. Newly separated and isn't looking. I met him on Wednesday and we didn't even make it to dinner. It felt so weird, but God, it was so amazing to be touched for the first time in so many years by someone who desired me. Me. It was all I could do to hold back tears while he was kissing me and moaning in my ear. I didn't know I had it in me, to make a man hard and want me? How weird is that? Thankfully he didn't find it weird at all. On the contrary, he said the idea of being my first after so many years turned him on very much. I was nervous that he would find me disgusting and inadequate. I'm meeting him this weekend. All. Update 3. I'm stunned anyone is still interested, honestly, but the private messages, the I hope you update comments, and just knowing there's this small crowd somewhere out there that knows my secret, gives me courage to keep going. It feels somehow necessary to let you all know how the threads are weaving together in this utterly strange new era of my life. Let's get straight to it. My divorce is proceeding, painfully, with a lawyer now, since my husband has stopped speaking to me. Not surprisingly, my moving out and my blunt I'm not coming back talk finally seemed to get through to him at last. He didn't rage or beg, just shut the door, I guess because he's done with vulnerability for now. The divorce won't be nasty, I think, but it's slow. He's dragging his feet on the paperwork, maybe in hope that I'll magically come to my senses. He sends an occasional, brief email, about logistics mostly. I feel like I'm talking to a bank branch manager, not the man I spent 11 years loving. And maybe because he's so hurt, or because he can't stomach the uncertainty, he sent me one letter, a real, handwritten letter, last week, tucked into the return envelope for the divorce papers. Pages and pages of how he met me, how he always thought he'd win my devotion, how he tried to make me his true family even if he didn't always know how. His handwriting got shakier with each page. I put the letter in a box, and 2 days ago, I let myself read it, top to bottom. I cried like a child. By the end he asked me, was it always our mistake, making our love the only thing we needed? There's no real answer. Meanwhile, my new job, my new routines, those are gifts. Nursing is still what grounds me, what reminds me I'm useful and capable. The hospital is so desperate for help they let me pick my shifts. There's gossip around about the city nurse. I suppose I walk and dress differently. The older nurses invited me to a Tuesday night potluck and plied me with stories of patients, small town drama, their own heartbreaks. I feel a different kind of membership here, just for showing up. I actually like it. I promised I'd give new details, so, dating. After the first unexpected Hinge hookup, let's call him James, he's not a major player in this story. I dipped my toe into town life. I keep things light with James, no promises past Saturday evening, focused only on the luxury of being wanted, of wanting. I have to admit, the simple joy of naked connection, of hearing a man honestly gasp because of me, was a strange, beautiful revelation after so many lonely years. But then there's the Bill ghost. I almost didn't want to talk about this, but it's unavoidable. It's not just old feelings trudging around in my memory. He called again, on a random Tuesday after midnight. I just stared at my ringing phone, at his name on the screen, heart hammering out of nowhere. I should have ignored it. I answered anyway. He was drunk, but not incoherent, just a little too honest. Are you happy? He asked immediately, in a soft, broken voice. I told him yes, and I meant it, mostly. He half laughed, like he didn't believe me, and I felt a strange twist in my chest, relief, nostalgia, regret. He told me he's seeing someone new, a woman from work who is kind and oblivious to family drama, but when she fell asleep that night, he found himself missing the quiet we magnetized around each other, as he put it. I told him it was a bad idea to keep calling, that I want both of us to heal. He apologized, again, and we both cried a bit, quiet, weirdly peaceful tears. He said he'd delete my number after this, unless you need to call first. I'm not going to call. My Sil, by the way, has retreated into herself. She has started a book club, something completely new for her, and oddly, she seems lighter than she's been in years. She texts me photos of the kids in messy pajamas, and once, after some wine, a late-night message, we're learning to be our own selves, finally. I hope you are too. I cried after that one, too. Maybe that's all I do these days. Oddly, my husband's relationship with her is still fractured. I heard through the grapevine, yes, small town life, news travels, that he's seeing a therapist. I'm glad. Maybe therapy will help him see that his best isn't always enough for the people he loves, and that's not always his fault. I like to believe he'll find peace, in his own stubborn way. As for my own peace, here's something strange that happened just last week. I was asked out by another nurse, Sophie. I mention her because she's my first real friend here, and blurting out I have a crush on you over post-shift pancakes was the first time in my life that I'd ever been confronted by a woman interested in me. I'd been so locked into the narrative of loving men, husband, Bill, James, I never considered anything else, yet when she said it, my first feeling was relief. I said I didn't know how to feel, and she just grinned, Well, take your time, I'm patient. And I'm letting myself wonder, now, very quietly, what if? For the first time since I moved, I truly felt the boundaries of my old life falling away. There's no mother-in-law in the next neighborhood, no sister-in-law clutching at her brother for support, no three-way silent ballet between me, Bill and my husband. There's just me, eating pancakes with a woman and feeling surprised by possibility. That's where I'm leaving things this time, alone, yes, but honestly grateful to be on my own, for the first time in more than a decade. Daring to try new paths, romantically, professionally, musically, yes, I've learned 3 songs on the violin and made everyone at the nurse's potluck clap for my terrible attempts at 4 Elise. I'm still in therapy and still unspooling years of putting myself last. My therapist says I have excellent insight, and I think for once, she's right. Maybe there will be more to share next time. About Bill, about my now actual ex-husband. Will I always call him my husband though? About Sophie maybe, or just about pancakes and small joys. For now, I'm learning to breathe, to live, and to build a new self that belongs to no one but me. Update 4. Well, I wasn't planning to post another update so soon, but life seems desperate to keep things interesting out here in tiny town land. I expect by now you all know my rhythm. Some months pass in steady, gentle anonymity, and then the universe delivers something so surreal and charged that I can't help but sit down and write as if you're all in my kitchen, passing around mugs of tea, waiting to hear the latest chapter. So, after my last update, a small and weird series of dominoes began to fall. It started the day I moved into my own apartment, a creaky second-floor walk-up above a bakery, smelling constantly like burnt sugar and cinnamon. The first night, as I was peeling packing tape off boxes and unearthing kitchen towels, I found the envelope again. My husband's letter. Funny what heartbreak makes you keep, meaningless, dangerous things. Except it isn't meaningless. Not when the next morning, I swiped open my phone and saw a message from his cell. No hello, no warning. Just a blurry photo of his handwriting, a single line, I hope you find yourself, she wrote, I just found this in my mailbox. And then, can you please tell me what's going on with him? I had to read that 3 times before I could make sense of it. I thought she and my soon-to-be ex were estranged, not leaving each other handwritten notes in the post. Turns out, he wrote her too, an apology, a rambling confession. He was sorry, he'd failed her, he didn't know how to love anyone without breaking something inside himself. I'll admit, something hollowed out in me when I realized he'd sent a similar swan song to us both. Some things you only survive by letting go, I guess. But that's not all. Bill, remember, ghost of heartbreaks past, made a surprise physical appearance in my new town. No text, no call this time. I stepped out of the bakery clutching a coffee, sleep-deprived after a week of night shifts, and there he was in the parking lot. If anyone's keeping track, this was 3 months since our last drunken phone call. He looked. Not himself. New girlfriend, perhaps, he'd mentioned wanting to see the Mediterranean, hair longer, a quiet, tight-down energy I didn't recognize. For about a minute I considered just bolting, but he gave me a careful, startled smile and said, hey. Is it weird if I say I'm here for work? Turns out, it wasn't a lie. He had a 2-day training at the regional branch of his company, and he wasn't going to not try to run into me. In a town this size, maybe that's not as much stalker behavior as it sounds? I was so thrown that, yes, I agreed to have lunch with him, just for old time's sake, just to clear the air, just to make sure that whatever last little embers were in me could flicker out quietly. Lunch wasn't what I expected. First, he apologized for everything and, his words, for making my life smaller when I should have left you to grow. He wanted to talk about closure, forgiveness, and why I think I broke myself before anyone else could. I listened, not entirely believing what I was hearing. He confessed he'd never really tried with his work girlfriend. That after the last time we spoke he tried to cut every tie and found himself deeply, flatteningly lonely. With his divorce final now, the entire extended drama had left him with a sense of being age 43 and starting from absolute zero. I felt, genuinely, for him in a way I hadn't before. The sexual current between us that had always hummed at an almost audible frequency was, for the first time, muted. We were just 2 people with too much shared awkwardness and too many regrets, and yet, we smiled. We ate. And that was it. At the end, a quick hug, almost sibling-like. A huge stone fell off the shelf inside me. Later that night, he sent a message, thank you for making me feel like a person worth apologizing to. I cried again. But it was relief, almost joy in the unromantic closure of it all. Meanwhile, life in town keeps unfolding. That nurse friend I mentioned, Sophie, her patience had limits, I suppose. She isn't waiting quietly for me to have my self-awakening romance. Instead, we're genuinely friends now, yoga on Wednesdays, arguing about books, she's a crime thriller addict, I'm still stuck on medical memoirs, eating too much pizza. She started seeing a local bartender, a woman named Tara, who is tall, funny, and terrifyingly cool. They invited me to trivia night. I lost brutally, but for once in my adult life, I belong somewhere, even for a few hours. My therapist says it's the small rituals that rewire your sense of self, letting other people see you, not as the wife or the problem, just as one person among many others trying to muddle through. There is more. James, the hinge man, moved away for work, and our don't catch feelings deal ended where it started, with a high five instead of heartbreak. I could have been sad, but instead I felt free, genuinely. I went to a movie alone for the first time in probably 15 years and laughed through sticky fingers at a terrible horror flick, surrounded by teenagers who reminded me of the wild, free version of myself I'd almost lost completely. Most crazy of all? My ex finally signed the divorce papers this week. He mailed them quietly, with no fanfare, just a text, I signed. When I opened the envelope, I found a photo inside, us, 10 years ago, on the sand, making faces into the wind. I laughed out loud, and cried like I always do. I sat on the edge of the bed for a long time, looking at that frozen happiness. That night, I called my sister for the first time in months. We're not close, but I told her, I think I did the right thing. She said, that's all you ever needed. She's right. But the real surprise, this is what I meant by life getting crazy, was a call from the hospital director yesterday. They're offering me a chance to train as an advanced practice nurse, specializing in mental health. It's a new program, and I'd be more than just another city nurse. I'd actually be building something here, maybe shaping care in this little place well beyond my own story. I never thought I'd be excited by a job again. I never thought I'd feel possibility fizzing in my stomach this way, not about a romance, but about rebuilding every broken cell of my independence, trust in myself, in the worth of a life that is simply mine. So what's new? I suppose the answer is, absolutely everything. A sense of being free, for the first time in memory, of the triangle I existed in, husband, Bill, Sil, and all of their wants, loyalties, wounds, and obligations, of starting a life where lunch with an ex-crush is only awkward, not electrifying. Where a female friend can make you wonder, in a gentle, easy way, if your possibilities for love are wider than you really thought. Where finding your own tiny kitchen with one teacup is a triumph, and learning a new job is more thrilling than 100 missed romances. My marriage is over. My Bill saga is over. My self-doubt is still there, but I'm building on top of it, layer by tiny layer, something that looks a lot like hope. And if there's one thing I want anyone else reading this to know, it's that you can be older than you ever thought you'd be starting over, and that it's never as lonely as you fear. Sometimes it's even beautiful. And for the morbidly curious, no, I haven't kissed Sophie. But I did let her braid my hair by the lake, and maybe that's more intimate than anything else. For now, that's enough.